I know that's what you're into. But let's take a look at the compositions as we head on into this one. A lot of poke coming out of either side in the mid lane. Icon with his signature Zoe, but on the other side, Fofo bringing the lethality Varus to the mid lane. Or at least we assume it's lethality.
We'll wait and see now. The first few builds will, at least the first few items will let us figure that one out. Hopefully he avoids the Umbro Glaive. I've seen too many of these lethality viruses start off on the Umbro Glaive, and yes, it gives you some of that vision control and this kind of stuff, but the raw damage you get from the other lethality items makes them so much of a better pick. Yeah, it's Comet Virus. It's going to be, I'm assuming, this lethality virus.
Yeah, the lethality, decently strong build in the current patch. I'm personally a big fan. Love it in the ARAM, but we typically aren't going to be watching an ARAM here in the LPL. It's usually Summoner's Rift, so...
I mean, sometimes we do get an ARAM. You're not wrong with that one.
Definitely series number 1 today between E-Stars V5. There was a decent amount of ARAM going on there.
Getting Curse exchanging blows at the start of this. All the BLG are trying to do is get vision as to where FLICKR is starting. So as long as OMG are able to force them back and stop them from getting this vision, they should be fine. But Kingen does get a sneaky ward in onto that Krugs on the top side, so they will know when that's cleared by FLICKR.
Relatively standard start here. FLICKR going to be able to start off on his blue. Does have the leash. Meteor on the other side, happy to go for the solo start. So a little bit less information given over to the side of OMG.
Yeah, and they know exactly where FLICKR started now. With this bot lane coming late, they're the ones that are in control and dictating the pace of where the jungler pressure is going to go. And they've got pressure on the lane as well.
Shinmo is not the one that got the best out of that trade. He took a huge chunk of damage. But they, I mean, this is what we see literally every game. Just the sparring between the two bot lanes. And it never feels like it's going to amount to much. It never feels like they'll commit to anything more than just a quick little trade of abilities and then going back to farming.
Kingen is trying to crash this wave on the top side, though, to allow Elise to gank up here. You have a lot of pressure and a lot of great gank setup because of, as we were just seeing, the hook shot. So if you can crash this, get the bounce, great for the Elise. But unfortunately, he's a little bit too late on clearing that. It means Curse can get the freeze underneath his turret.
We'll be going for the grasp as well, so kind of a little bit of a tankier build on this Camille than you're maybe used to seeing. Quite often you end up seeing it almost as an assassin. But I'd still expect the build in terms of the items to be going the way of damage.
In the jungle, Meteor and FLICKR are facing off. Meteor knows he's okay to go for this because of the pushing advantage Fofo has in the mid lane.
Go in, follow it. Here we go, FLICKR going for the fight on this one. Sleepy Trouble Bubble onto Fofo. But can't really follow up onto the fight for now. Elise has so much early presence, it's difficult to commit to that.
It comes down to how you use your Sonic Wave. And FLICKR and Icon were like, okay, cool, we can look to take this trade, but once the repel went up and Fofo was the recipient of the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, they weren't able to continue that forward. Now a low health Renekton and Meteor's in the top side.
Curse is fully respecting this one. He is out of here. Gonna walk all the way back to base as Meteor gonna obviously check the brush. Won't be able to find him. And Curse is not having a fun time in these lanes. Kingen every single time seems to get the favorable match.
And it speaks to how good Kingen is. Coming in to replace ADD on this roster, ADD especially when he started to have that bounce back towards the end of summer 2019, thought he would be the starting guy, but it's Kingen who, rightfully so, has looked so strong in these top lanes.
He's been looking pretty fantastic, and I like that he brings out the interesting picks as well. We get to see things like this Camille, things like the Quinn last game, and granted, the Quinn didn't do so hot in the grand scheme of that match, but individually, Kingen still played well. He was still putting a lot of pressure on in the top lane.
That's still going to be the case near 20 CS, or sorry, 12 CS lead even from in the top side. Now FLICKR up here to try and make it happen. Hookshot is available, so Kingen will be pretty safe here. Doesn't have to worry too much.
Yeah, FLICKR just waiting off to the side, and the stun goes down onto Curse. Immediate flash from Kingen. Now that is respect towards the enemy jungler right there.
Once you saw Curse go aggressive, they knew FLICKR was there. Kingen decided, look, I don't want anything to do with this. But it does give the opportunity for Meteor to get down on this bottom side, take away the Dragon. And with still 3 minutes before the Rift Herald is up for contention, Meteor can pretty handily pick this up, move towards top side, and have the pressure to go for a repeat gank on Kingen just in time for the Rift Herald.
Let's see if it's going to work out. Obviously, oh, the stun denies the jump from Kingen. And now both of them going to be jumping straight on towards this Camille. A little bit more damage will do the trick. And Hacker going to grab himself the kill.
Desperately needed on that top side. Because they knew they were losing Dragon, they could go for the dive, manage to get the kill, and set Curse back into at least somewhat of a reasonable lane state. Especially with this Rift Herald coming up, we have already beaten into the ground how important this objective is.
Yeah, this Herald will be an important one. 2 minutes until that's going to be on the map. And it's not just about who gets to it at the moment, it's about how you set up in these next couple of minutes so that you are the team that's able to rotate up. And whether or not these teams do decide to swap their bot lanes up towards the top side, we've seen different teams have different styles when it comes to the Herald.
OMG usually is one of those teams to send Code up to the top side, but it feels like with the Tam Kench, you're gonna look, Tam Kench doesn't do a huge amount of damage or support essentially in these skirmish scenarios. We'll probably lose out against the Nautilus, so let's just take it easy and keep Code down on the bottom side with SMLZ. This is going to be the wave where we look to potentially see Cold back if he is going to, because they've got the tempo advantage.
I'm kind of sad to see Cold relegated onto this Tam Kench as well. You know, earlier on this week, we got to see him on the Blitzcrank, and he was a monster. He absolutely ran away with the game.
But don't forget, I mean, Cold is kind of just a Braum player. Even back when he was called 5, that was his most played champion, most played summer of LPL 2019. This guy is happy to just be the keep you safe guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's working out. Like, you can't criticize it. It worked in game number 2, that's for sure. And having the same bot lane once again. Setting SMLZ up on his pocket pick of the Caitlyn as well. And I do just want to revisit something oh, here we go, actually. Getting traded onto there by Curse. Meteor's looking towards the top side, but he won't be able to find anything just yet. Hacker, in the meantime, though, moving to the bot side.
That trade was crucial from Curse in dissuading that dive. You want to try and use both of the ultimate from Kingen and the repel from Meteor to keep and juggle the tower aggro. So with that damage going down, you can't have Kingen juggle it for that long, so they're pushed back, and now Hacker is able to steal away a Red Bull.
Very nicely done from Hacker. He was eyeing up that bottom lane tower, thinking about a dive, but decides that's not going to be the play for now. And
he hadn't hit 6. He hadn't hit the level 6. You could see they were considering it with Icon roaming down with that level 6 picked up off the buff. But instead, they're going to hand it off. Fofo will pick up the blue on the way out, though.
And look at the items for Hacker. You can tell he wants to farm this game. He's gone for a Tiamat before upgrading his jungle item. That's how you know Lee Sin just wants to clear these camps.
Well, if you can clear it as quickly as that, maybe you can get onto the map faster. That's the piece that I'm holding on to. Meteor, though, will be spotted out. A lot of wards down on this bottom side. So SMLZ and Code realizing, hey, look, Meteor's bottom. We can go for this Rift Herald straight off the bat.
Yep, just going to go there straight from base. And again, SMLZ, every time it's off a cooldown, he's just going to throw the ace in the hole at whoever is in range. And this time it's Fofo. Obviously, with him moving up towards the top side, it does mean that they will get this Rift Herald. Still 1 minute and 40 until the Dragon. So there's not going to be an answer of that for BLG, but they will get onto this tower.
Look, if you're going to lose out on the Rift Herald, try and secure yourself the 2 plates that come with that objective anyway, and that's what they're going to do. 3 man on the bottom side. SMLZ has already gone to work on this top turret, though, and Caitlyn does some serious work when it comes to turret plates.
She certainly does. The headshots now obviously able to hit towers. That change came in about 1 billion years ago now, but still feels like a recent change to me. But one thing I actually want to address, I said something very stupid in game number 1. Game number 2, sorry. You don't actually get the headshots from the Runaan's Hurricane. We checked in between the games. It's not a thing anymore. I think it did used to be a thing.
It was a thing, yeah,
but it's not anymore.
Well, that top lane tower is no longer a thing for BLG either. They've managed to get a dive off the Rift Herald onto the tier 2 as well, which means overall they're in a pretty nice spot. Curse is on the bottom side of the map to try and push Jinjiao off of that bot lane turret as well. See if they can hold on to that, which would be pretty nice, seeing as they were going to want to try and keep the minion wave somewhat even for this Mountain Drake in 30 seconds.
And this is just such a uncharacteristically slow series from OMG. This is not a team that we usually see playing super, super slow. We usually see them skirmishing in the mid-game.
I mean, this isn't characteristic of the LPL in general.
It is characteristic of BLG, though.
BLG, though, yeah, that is true. I feel like if you're looking at what you want the LPL to be, it's what you saw yesterday. Whereas if you're looking at what this game is, this is every single BLG series.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say, except occasionally.
Umbro Glaive. Why? So this is the thing. So the reason I have such a big issue with this is you miss out on so much damage coming off the Umbro Glaive. You do get the vision, that can help out very nicely, but in a scenario where you pretty much know where OMG are going to be because they're sieging your turrets, you don't really need to deny vision in this game.
I mean, it certainly can help for the setting up of neutral objectives and whatnot, but the extra damage would be nice from something like the Dustblade. Here we go, the hacker pulled in and jumps out. Everything neutralized, but you can see as soon as that first lethality item is finished off, the damage from this Varus ramps up pretty significantly.
Wards galore in the mid lane, just to make sure that Kingen does have the opportunity to teleport if he does need so. We'll run into Curse at the river as BLG set up for potentially their second dragon of the game, although OMG want to make it their first.
Well, it is OMG that will be on the scene right now, and actually Sleepy Trouble Bubble onto Shinmo. Nice dredge line though. Will mean he can get out to safety. But just that big chunk of damage onto the sport will be enough to secure this Mountain Drake now for the side of OMG.
Curse is still hovering mid though. This means Kingen can try and trade some of those turret plates on the top side, but Croc will eventually make his way up towards the top. Yeah, decent damage from Fofo. You can see Lethality Varus does hurt.
The Umbro Glaive comes in big there, gets a ward in one hit. You don't see that every day unless you build Umbro Glaive.
Senna, fast and Senna support. Wants to have a word or two. Shinmo?
Well, Shinmo wants a hook, but he's not going to be able to find it, unfortunately for him. And we go back to this bouncing the minion waves back and forth. One apiece for OMG and BLG in this series. And the gold, just going to be 800 in favor of OMG. That's going to be a nice bubble, but once again, it's on the Nautilus. He can dredge line his way out of that one.
Kingen is here, hovering over towards the side. You can see picking up the Raptors. Potentially trying to see if he can hop over the wall, but I think when you're not sure where Code is right now, you've still got a decent chunk of damage and Hacker there as well, coming in, not wanting to go for that play.
This series is feeling a bit like Season 3, honestly, where it's just a game of farm up as efficiently as you can, and then in 20 minutes time we'll have a look at maybe fighting once or twice.
And this is the thing. I mean, when we looked at BLG originally, it was these were at least what were crowned the smartest team last split. It feels like it's not really the smartest team anymore. They're the slowest team, yes, and they do eke out their victories by controlling the vision and starving you of objectives. But their early game is just sit back and do nothing. And even where they've got scenarios where they should be pushing their advantages, they're afraid to do so in a lot of scenarios. And it gives the opportunity, like we saw in last game, for OMG to scale super late and beat them out in that respect. And it's a similar style that we could potentially see here.
So far, it's definitely been the case in this series. But game number 1 did go the way of BLG. They played this slow style, but we had Meteor on that Olaf, and he played a little bit more aggressive towards the top side of the map. They had an advantage to play the slow style with and built that over time.
I bet you and Hysterics are so glad you didn't have this series yesterday.
Me and Hysterics as a duo on this one would have been rough, not gonna lie. We did have one really slow series. The LGD series was not that action-packed. Was it this? I don't remember which series it was.
It was that good, huh?
One of the series I remember being distinctly slow. It wasn't the first series. That I remember. IG versus Rogue Warriors was insane. If you missed that one yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, go back and watch the VOD after this broadcast, obviously. But IG versus Rogue Warriors, you'd think on paper that that would be all about IG, but Rogue Warriors had an incredibly good series against them, all the way to 3 games.
Gives me a bit of hope for Rogue Warriors as well. There's so many of these teams that are quote-unquote like bottom of the table teams, but you're really like, they can take a game off of anyone. And we're seeing this with OMG here today as well. BLG in theory should be the team at the top, but OMG coming in and giving us not quite a spectacle, but definitely pushing BLG.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it with LGD yesterday as well, getting themselves a 2-0 victory.
EDG taking down E-Star. That's a new roster that, well, we're still waiting to see what potential can come out of that.
V5 gave E-Star a run for their money earlier on today,
True.
and especially in the early games.
And V5 did it against JDG as well. Like, these are all kind of like, okay, this should be pretty one-sided, and suddenly not so much in the way we would have expected.
And that's one of the things that's most exciting about the LPL is you never really can quite count a team out. There's always that glimmer of maybe they can just make some ridiculous mechanical plays and win out.
Because no matter what way you look at it, every team has a couple of players that you can look at and go, these are the guys that could carry a game in some scenarios. Right now, though, in this game, it's looking potentially like in the long run, SMLZ could be the carry for it. Xinjiao needs a little bit more time to get to that second item. And right now, BLG are going to use the advantage that they have, though, to pick up this Rift Herald. OMG want to contest.
Shinmo's onto Hacker, but Cold pulls him out with the Devour. Spits out his jungler as Curse gets in onto them. Renekton versus 4. That's his comfort zone right there. Shinmo will be finished off by the Paddle Star. And now onto Fofo. Great Sonic Wave. There's the flash kick as well. And a second one goes into the hands of Curse.
SMLZ is doing work in the bottom lane as well. And this is why we oftentimes need... Oh, Icon.
Icon's just
He's
playing with
having
his
fun.
food
He's
right
having a bit
now.
of fun.
Here we go, onto the mid lane tower as well. Curse going to start this one off. In the meantime, SMLZ just shoving into the bottom lane.
Yeah, he'll be able to get this bottom lane turret because he was able to 1v1 the Misfortune. They have also gone back towards this dragon. So in this scenario, you pick up the dragon, you pick up bot lane turret, rotate SMLZ and Code into the mid lane, and you should then be able to drift up towards that Rift Herald to pick that one up for themselves as well. Need to do it relatively quickly though, only 3 more minutes before Baron comes on board and there's no second Rift Herald.
Very nicely done here by OMG to finally start to snowball a little bit. They've got 3 kills on the board, but look at the gold difference, 2,500 in their favor. And now, as you rightly say, they're the ones with tempo. They're the ones that can move up towards this Herald.
Well, it's actually, for that brief moment in time, BLG who have the tempo. And this is something that European teams do a lot. A lot of the top teams in the LPL do, is finding the scenario where, okay, OMG have taken Dragon. They need to back. We've got the next 30 seconds on the map to pick up something for ourselves. And in the scenario where you've got Kingen, Meteor, and Shinmo up towards that Rift Herald, you might be able to steal it away. But again, this is the slower pace that we see from BLG, where they're afraid to take these risky plays. And now, Meteor wants to dive the bottom lane to try and answer for the trade on top side of the map.
Curse is going to be alone. The turret goes down. Meteor lands the cocoon and gets straight on towards Curse. He doesn't have the health to deal with this one, and that's going to be a kill for the misfortune of Jin Zhao.
I think if you're OMG, though, you're okay here. You take this Rift Herald, you plonk it down in the mid lane, and BLG are going to be forced to respond. Yes, they're in the 4v5, but they're not going to be able to take this tier 2 tower that quickly. Although, as I say that, with only Hacker and Cold working on this Rift Herald, it is going down incredibly slow. They're sharing Icon and SMLZ in the mid lane. That's not what you want.
And we talk about BLG as a smart macro team. They recognize that the Herald hasn't been taken yet, that there won't be an answer in time, and immediately they capitalize. They grab themselves a tier 2 tower in the bottom lane.
I don't know why SMLZ and Icon were there. If they'd actually managed to move one of them across, they'd pick that up a lot faster, or even send the likes of Icon down there to just quickly clear out the wave. They will get this mid lane turret now. Fofo taken low, but they won't try and push on here because with the wave clear Fofo offers on this side, it's a bit too difficult to do so without the Baron.
Fofo going to be able to clear the Herald after the fact, but does get the second charge off. But a second charge in the mid lane is not worth a tier 2 in the bottom lane. BLG definitely getting the best of that trade. You can see it reflected in the gold difference as well. It was 2,500 just a couple of minutes ago. Now shrinking down just to the 1,000 mark.
SMLZ has definitely not read Freak's patch notes. I watched Freak's patch note video.
It's hard to read videos.
It is. Well, I mean, they sometimes have words in them.
Sometimes.
Yeah. But either way, I mean, look, Freak did an entire breakdown on why Infinity into Essence Reaver is really good. And it's kind of It's just a little hurting me a small bit.
I'm not going to lie.
He's not doing it.
I will say, Dagda, your expectation of how many Chinese pro players watch Freaks breakdowns of patches
okay, fair.
is maybe a little skewed. I'm not sure how revered as an analyst he is amongst the Chinese pro players. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. He could be, but it's not something
Well,
I've
that's why I
heard
said he definitely hasn't watched it.
True.
You know? I was doubling down.
Well, you are from Dublin.
Hey, that's what you did.
You're not actually from Dublin, are you?
I am. Although you tried to make it out yesterday on Twitter as Australian.
You're from near Dublin, aren't you?
Well, no, it's still Dublin.
Oh.
Yeah. It's County Dublin.
That old classic, eh?
Ah, yeah.
Well, things have slowed down again, Dagda, and I don't like it.
It's not. I'm not the biggest fan of it either. Look, at this stage, this is again OMG giving time to SMLZ to scale up. You got Fofo, who's going to be really good at wave clear. So I'm kind of looking to see how they position Fofo on this map, because he's going to be able to move these waves fairly quickly back and forth. OMG need to push all waves in if they want to try and get control of this Baron area. Although with Cloud Drake up in a minute, OMG could look to just put pressure on with Soul Point.
Well, we do see OMG grouping up and moving into the jungle of BLG. There's no response from the side of BLG, and that means that the Baron will be started. All 5 members here to try and sneak a Baron,
No
and they might
TP
just
on
get
Kingen.
away with it.
Kingen doesn't have TP. This is why they're confident in starting this, and it's already below half health.
Shinmo going to get poked out just a little bit. 4,000 health on the Baron. Meteor waiting off to the side. He wants the steal. The smite is going to be there, though, for FLICKR. OMG get the Baron for themselves, and now they're going to win the fight as well. Curse will be finished off, though. In the meantime, Kingen managed to grab himself a tower.
Look, it's a 1-for-1 trade. The tower will go down, but you've got Baron. That's the big objective. You're looking for Icon, looking for more.
Does get the bubble
Oh.
onto the likes of Fofo, finishes off the kill as well. That's going to be a nice little consolation prize for OMG, but they trade it for a mid-tier 2.
Cheeky little cleanse in there as well for Icon that he picked up. Now he's picking
All
up
right.
the double. That's going to be the Dragon. And OMG, it took 22 minutes, but we got some action, Munch.
Glimmers of LPL coming through here. Now onto the Dragon as FLICKR starts things off. He's going to have Icon here to help him out. But look at Icon's scoreline off the back of these skirmishes. He's hoovering up every single one of these kills. And this is where Zoe really shines, in these spread out skirmishes that she can pick targets off.
And it's not where Kingen shines. You want to be the one with the Baron. You don't want to try and force yourself up against Curse, who's going to have all these Baron creeps, making it so frustrating as this Camille. OMG have found the counter because BLG have gifted it to them on a silver platter.
Very nicely done here by OMG. They recognize that Kingen is out of position, and they force the issue immediately. Now with a huge gold lead, the question will be, what can they do with it? The Baron still going to be on them for another minute and a half. They managed to get a tier 2 in the mid lane. Where else can they go?
This is Icon's replay here. I love this. Picks up the cleanse. The second that cocoon lands, Captain Jack running through members. And again, following up on Jin Jiao here. There's no escape for the misfortune.
Doesn't even need the bubble. Just pops him. Phenomenal stuff coming out from Icon, and we said it right at the start of the draft. Bear in mind, this was the first pick for OMG. This was what they wanted to lock in right off the bat. So far, it's working out for them. It took a while to start things off, but now things are starting to get moving, and Icon's happy about it.
The problem for OMG right now, though, is zero control of side waves. They got 45 seconds left on the Baron buff, and they're the ones that are pushed in. So unfortunately, it looks like that tier 2 is all that they're going to get. So it's going to look more like a rinse and repeat when Baron is up. But at least now, they can use the mid tier 2 being down to get deeper control in the enemy jungle. Look towards the Cloud Drake when it spawns, which is going to be Soul Point for them. Or move over towards that Baron as well.
We'll go back to a bit more of a slow game pace. It has to be said, the Baron, despite it being obviously a great objective to pick up, hasn't really achieved that much for OMG. They got the 1 tier 2 in the mid lane, but that's about it. And now that's going to be dropping off them. They're looking towards this tier 2 in the top lane. It won't be down to Baron, but I think they do still get the objective for themselves. SMLZ have to just walk up and hit that.
Look, the Baron enables the siege so much better for OMG. We said that this was how they wanted to set up, to try and stop Kingen doing exactly what he's doing right now, which is shoving down the mid lane.
Well, bullet time used just to deny the push here. Kingen realizing that there's no chance that he gets onto the mid lane inhib tower. The whole team are going to be recalling from the side of OMG. So he heads down towards the bottom lane, instead just going to hoover up a couple of waves there.
I imagine BLG are going to be caught out when it comes towards the next 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Baron is going to be spawning. OMG are happy to trade the soul point for that Baron. So as BLG, you're caught between a rock and a hard place. How do you try and contest these two objectives at once? And with SMLZ now having 2 of those big crit items completed, the rapid fire cannon completed as well, they're going to be able to take this down relatively quickly.
It's been found by Cold and SMLZ, but with the Scryer's Bloom there, he's going to be able to keep himself safe. Oh, I want to point out the fact that when you look at Icon's inventory right now, he's got his Ludens, he's got his Zhonyas, there's a needlessly large rod in there as well. Once that death cap does come on through, it's a huge power spike for the Zoe.
You're going to be doing a heck of a lot of damage on top of the hell of a lot of damage he's already doing. So Icon in a fantastic spot. And this is the guy we often look at for OMG to be the big carry. We said, yes, SMLZ is helping him out, but Icon is showing that still when we look at OMG, it's the mid lane to keep your eyes on.
Just going to be setting up the siege in the bottom lane. And as we've said before, this is the strength of that Caitlyn. You said that you wanted to see more BF swords from SMLZ last game. This time he's gone for the Stormrazor alongside the IE. What do you make of this one, Dagda?
Much preferred. I think you've got a lot more damage now, and this is where I would have liked to see him in the last game. It gives a lot more punch as well when we look at his ultimate. Tossing that out towards Fofo regularly, hitting that mid laner and forcing at least to play a little bit more passive can help in getting these waves under control, because that's what they want to do right now. Unfortunately, we're not being given the opportunity because they've got Kingen consistently bouncing around the map to cause headaches for OMG.
Jin Zhao on the other side as well. He's going to be going for the Bloodthirster third, which typically, it's kind of 50-50, I'd say, between the Rapid Fire Cannon and the Bloodthirster for the Misfortunes. But certainly, if you're relying on the bullet time... Oh, Jin Zhao, huge chunk of damage from Icon there. Forces out his flash. But if you do go for the Bloodthirster, the bullet time will do a lot more damage in a team fight.
I think as well, you're kind of realizing as Jin Zhao, look, we're not finding these fights. We're not going to be setting up for these big objectives. Instead, my ult is wave clear. That is all I'm trying to do right now. And having that extra bit of AD in that will help out.
Speaking of big objectives here, Cloud Drake started up for OMG. This will be Soul. And there is no answer from BLG whatsoever. Kingen literally going to push a wave in the top lane. No answer on the Baron, no answer on the contest. BLG just give it up.
We said it. We were talking about it 2 minutes ago. They can't play this map on both sides because the tier 2 in the mid is gone. They have to try and take a choice on which one they're going to try and contest, and it is going to be the Baron. Overall, I think it's a better call. I mean, how much of a difference realistically does extra ultis cooldown on the likes of a Tam Kenchult or a portal jump from this Zoe really mean in the long run of things?
I don't know, though.
Everyone else?
Movement speed on Caitlyn after she aced in the holes.
It looks good, I know. It looks good on paper, but maybe not the biggest of impacts.
Yeah, you might just be right on that one. Hey, I mean, Cloud Soul is pretty great on Renekton. That has to be said. When he pops his Dominus, he just blasts into your team.
The thing that really matters here is that it sets open the Elder Drake. It allows that objective to come onto the map. And when we're saying OMG have got the opportunity to siege really well around these, poke people out as they start to move in towards these objectives as BLG, having both the Baron and the Elder Dragon to play with means wonders for OMG.
Well, we still have another 4 minutes and 40 seconds until we see any of those kind of shenanigans coming on through. So fingers crossed we do see them. Baron is on the map, so that's going to be what OMG are posturing around for now. And it has to be said, the lethality virus from Fofo, it's not really done anything so far.
It's been a wave clear. He has 286 CS, a lot at this point. But OMG, They're looking to poke, they're looking to siege, they're looking to pick off Fofo. Not going to be able to get us.
Well, I'm criticizing his pick. It has to be said, he's had very fancy footwork this game, dodging out just about everything Icon throws his way.
Still rather the Zoe, though. If I'm going to go between the two of them, I'm going to pick a Zoe every day of the week. Kingin.
Kingin's been caught. Oh, can't Spider-Man away either. Great stun from Curse. The rest of the team here to back him up. Now time for the bullet time onto everyone. Tom Kench saves the day, and everyone flashing away. OMG could be in trouble. Another flash from SMLZ this time as Cold sacrificed to save the team.
Too many people tried to jump onto Kingin, who had a fantastic ultimate to avoid so much of the CC that was coming through. OMG want to poke, they want to siege, they don't want to be going into a lot of these team fights. And unfortunately, they end up losing out that one, and the Baron now will go in favor of BLG unless the 2-level advantage Lee Sin can make the miracle play.
Fofo going to be trying to zone them away. Umbral Glaive comes into play once again.
I hate you.
Doesn't have his doesn't have his ultimate though. And they will decide to back away. I mean, I don't think coin flipping the Baron would have been the play here.
It wouldn't have been a coin flip. It would have literally been FLICKR with a 2-level advantage over Meteor, stealing that objective, them getting poked out the whole time between SMLZ and Icon. So the correct call from BLG to back off that.
Well, OMG have decided they want to go for this one. All 5 members going to be here. Icon is a deadly threat on this Zoe if he can land a bubble.
That's what they're trying to do. They're drawing BLG into these scenarios where there's the long walls in the jungle. That Icon can potentially pick someone out. It's just trying to fish, see what comes out with the hook. And maybe they can find someone juicy.
Makes a lot of sense that they'd be fishing because Icon's running the Seaside Zoe skin as well. So it
True.
all adds up.
Yeah.
This is all part of the master plan. We should have seen it coming from the word go.
I don't know how I didn't, to be honest. I don't know. I'm supposed to be the color caster, and I'm not even taking skins into the account.
It's true. It's true.
Get Hysterics back in here.
I mean, hysterics. You mean apathetics?
Apathetics. Sorry, apathetics.
He did a pretty good job yesterday.
He did. Until he broke down partway through one of the games.
Yeah. I mean, color casting is hard, especially when you're not a color caster. It has to be said.
He was still struggling today. There was a couple of times where I was like, I forgot that I'm not supposed to take replays and that he's actually supposed to take fights. But there's not going to be much in the way of replays at the moment. It looks like Fofo is kind of using this Knight's Vow to push in and tank up some of these bubbles for the rest of the team. Now, I'm not sure if that's the best of ideas, but at least it provides some reprieve for BLG.
One thing that does have to be said for BLG is the longer this game goes on, the more effective King and Split push can become. Once you've got a few items, and he has a few items, Camille will annihilate turret's health bars.
But we've got FLICKR here in the bottom side of the map. This should be the go button for BLG and the Baron.
They should start that objective off. Kingen in the meantime, 2 versus 1. Gets his little jump though. Blast Cone going to be there. Flashes to get onto it. Dodges the Sonic Wave. And I think he's got away with things in the meantime. Shinmo going to be able to block onto Icon. Will be able to get away with the play there. 2,000 on the Baron. Smite coming on through, and it's FLICKR. No, Meteor, sorry, that will be able to get it. Now the follow-up. Shinmo will go down. Icon finding at least 1 kill. But OMG, they've got to punish harder than this. In goes Cold. He's going to find it onto Fofo. Gets straight onto the backline. FLICKR the one to do it. Kingen has arrived to help his team. Icon getting pretty low as he jumps on in, and Kingen found himself all out to dry now. Jin Zhao doesn't have the bullet time available. Icon flashing over the wall. Doesn't find the thing. SMLZ wants a 1v2 right here. Has to walk away underneath the tower. Cocoon won't land.
Pops the barrier just for safety there, but OMG take the Baron off of so many members. It's only Meteor and Jin Zhao that still have it. They should be able to use that Baron buff to keep this pressure at bay. The problem is, though, long death timers and Elder Dragon is up.
This was not the trade that you wanted, BLG. I thought you were the macro team. I thought this was your strength, but
not the
OMG.
late game. Not the late game. This is what we said. When it comes to the late game, BLG struggled, and this is what we're now seeing. Curse is going over.
Meteor's in trouble, but the repel keeps him alive. Elder Dragon taken now by OMG and immediately used onto the likes of Meteor.
And look, the pings are going down on this mid wave Mid lane wave as well. They want to try and push that in, see if they can crack open a couple of these structures. But the problem is still, Baron buff is there for another minute. So you're going to see about a 40-second period where Elder Dragon can out-sustain the Baron. But I don't think they have the waves to push forward.
We're going to have a little bit of a reprieve now, as both teams try and assess the situation and figure out where they want to go, what they want to do. They've each got one of these kind of end game neutral buffs, but neither of them seems to want to do anything with it. Dagda, I just want more buys.
Look, the problem that we're having is Fofo's really good at clearing waves. Jin Zhao's really good at clearing waves. So the Baron buff for these, for the side of OMG, is actually far more valuable. Whereas if you're BLG, the Elder Dragon is more valuable because Kingen can then pretty handily solo curse in the side lane. With the teams doing the swapperoo, this is going to slow down this game. OMG, though, have now got the waves in order, know that they've got 30 seconds left in the Baron, so this next minion wave that's conga lining out of the base could be the one they use to try and crack open the base.
Cold's going to try and make a play onto Kingen here. Just get the hook shot off, though, so maybe can escape. Hextech Ultimatum to dodge away from the sleep, but the hook shot's not there in time. And with a pick like that, maybe OMG can force the issue.
And here come the minions we were talking about. SMLZ pushing in. Hacker's going to get the bottom lane turret. I'd rather see him join with the rest of the team to finally crack open this base and maybe give us an end to this game in sight.
Hacker going to be split pushing on the Lee Sin in the bottom lane. It's not what you usually say, but it's going to work out for them as they get a tier 2. Pressure in all 3 lanes. 30 seconds on the Elder Drake. 30 seconds on Kingen. This is their window of opportunity.
They've committed to the bot side, trying to clear out this wave, which means top is open. They are going to push in.
Looking for something. Fofo cleanses away the bubble immediately. That's going to be the tower taken. Inhibitor open now and immediately dropped by the likes of OMG. Over towards the mid lane as well. Still going to be full health.
Elder buff has worn out though, so now OMG realize their timing window is gone. They want to back, they want to reset, and it looks like we'll be going towards another Baron for OMG here.
We're going to the late game, the real late game this time.
The real late game with almost full items on some of these carries.
2 minutes until the Baron, which means the inhib will still be down when that Baron spawns. However, with Kingen on the side of BLG, they're not going to struggle with dealing with one wave of super minions. But I think Kingen actually going to be heading towards this bottom side, trying to put some pressure onto OMG.
The problem though is that every other lane is going in favor of OMG. So Kingen can't push up past River for fear of getting collapsed on by OMG. And we saw what just happened in the 4v5. So OMG, as long as they keep 2 of these waves in check, which makes it a lot easier with the super creeps, OMG should be fine to keep this pressure up.
Kingen's grouped up with the rest of the team. And that's one of the nice things about this pick of the Camille. Yes, your biggest strength is the split push, but you still do offer something to a team fight. It's kind of like a better version of the Fiora pick. Well, controversial statement, potentially. R/Fiora mains are furious.
Yeah. Also Khan. Khan was doing some serious work in team fights on Fiora, but this is not an FPX game. We will not be having split pushes. No siree. We will have OMG trying to get their siege in order one more time. Moving down into the mid lane.
Well, Cold will have that Abyssal Voyage available. It's just come off cooldown a split second ago. That's been kind of the initiation for OMG a lot of the time. Oh, he got him! I thought he was completely protected. The rest of the team just parts the ways.
What?
Why? How does that happen?
That is not fair. How is that a thing?
What on earth? And now we've got a Renekton jumping on in. Curse charging forwards, uses the stone plate, and he's practically invincible there. But surely anyone on the team just step in front of the paddle star. That's your jungler down. Baron's about to spawn. BLG have just kissed goodbye to this game.
Well, Icon has another one to the hit list. 7-0-3. Baron, as you said, has spawned. They pick this up. Traps are down. Icon's going fishing again. It's a summer day for OMG as the victory looks like it could be in sight.
Well, we've got a fight on our hands first. It is going to be Hacker that grabs the
God.
Baron, and oh my days, the triple! Jin Zhao once more as well. FLICKR flashes away to safety. And 4 versus 5. BLG hang on.
How is this game a thing? This is a fantastic ultimate from Jin Zhao that may have just crushed OMG. Right when we were saying they can make the plays, Icon can't get a pick off of the Zoe. Everyone's up and moving in a tight-knitted group. And now OMG are on the back foot.
It was all a bait. Meteor died on purpose so they could set Jin Zhao up for success. Here we go. Zhonya's onto Icon, but I don't think he's going to be able to get away. The double Zhonya's still won't save him. The flash, though, will. And he's just going to sprint away. Jin Zhao happy to follow him. He wants to 1v1. He's got the QSS, and he's got the kill as well.
They
now
delayed,
back
though.
into the mid lane.
There's 8 seconds now in SMLZ. He's bought enough time. OMG have held on by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah, but for how long? Because Meteor is going to start off this Elder Dragon. Abyssal Voyage is available.
There's super creeps in the top lane, though. There's a potential here with Curse up that they just go across for that. But with how quickly this Elder Dragon's going down, I don't think it's going to be possible.
The super minions in the top lane have been met by the super minions in the mid lane coming out from BLG. Here we go. Look at this bullet time.
That is so many people sitting in that bullet time, and of course the damage from Fofo as well. With the poke on the lethality bars, health bars get annihilated. And OMG, right it was looking pretty, find themselves once again waiting for these big objectives to come up.
This time, it's a swap on which objectives go which way. It's going to be the Elder buff in the pocket of BLG, so the team fight prowess will be there. And I mean, obviously the damage is pretty one-sided. It wasn't really a team fight. It was just BLG jumping on OMG.
Yeah, I mean, you can see 0 damage for a lot of people in that last team fight on OMG's side. Now BLG, though, starting to move forward.
Yeah, those ace in the hole is not doing so much anymore.
Look, I mean, we're looking at full builds for both of our AD carries, nearly full builds for our mid laners. We've gotten tanky supports all over the place, and this is now danger zone.
We've reached the end game here. This is the final Avengers movie right in front of us. But I don't know, both teams just seem nervous to make a play. There's a lot resting on this. In terms of the standings, they're both middle of the table teams right now. Both of them want the win.
OMG to pick up their 3rd win, put them ahead of the amount of wins they picked up last split. And Icon would love that with the poke he's putting out right now.
Icon really hurting Shinmo with these paddle stars. Still got Elder Dragon for another 50 seconds. And a lot of respect coming out from OMG because of that. Going back to the fountain, making sure that they recuperate. But there's just no side lane pressure anywhere for BLG.
This game is going to keep going, Munch, isn't it? This is the never-ending story. 2 Elder Dragons, and we're not going to get a finish. Although, as I say that, hovering around the corner, 30 seconds still on that buff. OMG could get caught.
Oh, here we go. Change the corruption, but Tom Kench ruins everything as always. Kingen gets the Hextech ultimatum, saved by the bullet time, and that's one going down for Fofo. Curse, the next target. Elder Dragon might just be enough. FLICKR gets a kick, though, onto Jin Zhao. That's a massive pick-off. Icon maybe can follow up. SMLZ still alive, but everyone else has fallen. Shinmo wants to find a hook. SMLZ has to be the carry here. Icon gets 2. Meteor down with the ace in the hole. And Fofo suddenly alone. SMLZ looking for the chase. Will get the Caliber net. Is he a little bit faster? I don't know if he's quite going to be able to catch up, though.
What is this?
Oh, the fleet footwork for movement speed.
The Cloud Drake. It's the Cloud Drake.
It's the Cloud Drake coming through. SMLZ can't catch him. What a fight from OMG, though.
And now you've got the 2 members. Icon and SMLZ could look to end this game.
I don't know if they've got the time here. 20 seconds and there's an inhibitor remaining.
I'm getting a little bit excited. But they will at least get another inhibitor for themselves. They can walk up towards top and clear that as well, which means that it becomes a far easier game for OMG to navigate because they've gotten 2 inhibitor turrets down, and it's only that 3rd in the bottom remaining.
And it was a valiant attempt by BLG.
It really was. But the big thing here is watch Icon. The damage he's getting off onto so many of these backline members. He gets damage there. Oh, also that kick, but you can see Icon gets it onto Jin Zhao there, gets the kill. Then he's got another paddle star that comes in once again onto... Actually, I thought it was Fofo there, but either way, OMG are putting in work in these team fights.
Yeah, just the sheer damage that both SMLZ and Icon are outputting during these fights. And Icon able to get the ace in the hole through at the end of the fight as well. Bear in mind, that ultimate has a very short cooldown at this point in the game. Next objective, though, will be the Baron. It's up in 40 seconds.
I don't know who even wins this anymore. Like, in my head, I would have given it to OMG. The Caitlyn outscales Misfortune. You've got Icon, who's kind of a better fofo. But the execution from OMG hasn't quite been there, which has given the opportunity for these massive ultimates from Jin Zhao to turn some of these fights around.
SMLZ just crit the red buff for 2,500 damage. If he gets just a second on Jin Zhao or Fofo, they will drop.
And this is the thing, now that you've gotten the crit strike onto the likes of that Stormrazers, it gives you more AD, to build off that crit. It's such a nice combo. And Icon?
Oh, can he get it? Kingen takes a huge chunk, and Icon has a lot of movement speed. Bear in mind, he procs the soul every couple of seconds with his ultimate. Kingen going to try and turn it around, but there's no way he can match the damage.
And OMG, in theory, because I've seen what happens, I've seen the story before, should be able to turn on towards the Baron, but here comes Cold.
Abyssal Voyage, they're going to try and force the issue. Cold's gone way too deep alone, though. Great Health will keep him alive for a second, but not very long at all. Bullet time zones the rest of the team. Curse 1v4, but the Stone Plate stops his damage. SMLZ cleanses to get on into the fight. Look at the damage out of SMLZ. He's free firing, and he's cleaning up this fight. It's all going to be OMG.
What a game from OMG! We talked about snowballing being their lead. We talked about how BLG in a slow, drawn-out game would win. But OMG fight them at their own game, and they will take the series.
And SMLZ's made a little shrine to himself right there. 21-11. It was all